This is Room 301, a podcast ran by digital agency group The Digital Maze. Room 301 is a podcast all about SEO, PPC, website design, social media, and everything in between. Our aim with this is to equip marketing leaders with all the know-how to run and lead an effective digital strategy. My name is Rob. Let's get into it. Right, Tighty, welcome back to Room 301. We have a guest today, a very experienced guest, a guest called Rudi. Rudi, how are you?
I'm fine. I hope you are as well.
Lovely. So, just for our listeners, would you like to give yourself a very quick introduction?
I'm Rudiger. As my accent gives away, I'm not native from the UK. I'm actually from Germany, moved over here 10 years ago. I'm currently working as the SEO Manager at 20i, web hosting company in Nottingham. I'm in the website, web hosting business, not web hosting, SEO business and optimization business for over 20 years now. Started building my own websites back in the days for my little things I've did, and from there on it developed.
So this is going back, probably predates Google, right?
Yeah, when I started out, Google wasn't around. I think it was more Alta Vista and Lycos and stuff like this, and there was not really any optimization. It was just clinging it on, and then some tactics people don't want to know about nowadays were used to, rank yourself up.
Yeah. So tell us more about your current role. So 20i, Nottingham-based hosting company?
Web hosting company. So I'm the SEO manager. Like you do in SEO, we try to get the best ranking for what we believe are the best products for sure.
Yep.
20i was like the first company who brought reseller hosting to the UK.
Okay.
So we are in the UK and in the US recently available. So we're available worldwide, but the main markets are US and UK. Main focus was most of the time reseller hosting. We have like a WordPress optimized hosting as well, and the main thing that sets us apart is a little bit that we have an own control panel, which is a little bit better, we believe, than cPanel, and it's for free. So
fab.
So that's a good thing. So
brilliant. Well, I'm certainly grateful for you coming along today. I know you don't live too far away.
Was a short journey, yeah.
Lovely. Well, we are going to talk about all things AI today. So it's been an interesting, I'd say, couple of weeks for SEO. I think.
Since I think mid-end November when the ChatGPT storm broke loose.
You can't log on to Twitter, LinkedIn without seeing anything about it anymore. And also, obviously, the last couple of weeks have been the Yandex leak as well, and it's all been going off in the SEO world. But today's podcast all about AI. I'm just going to start with, in your opinion, what is AI? We were talking just before we turned on the microphones today that it's not just come out of nowhere. That I think people assume that, don't they, given the sort of rise of ChatGPT in the last couple of months. But take us back. In your words, in your knowledge of what AI is, when it started.
AI technically started in the 1950s, but the idea is far older. So there were even some old Greek philosophers who pondered on the idea of having something else than human making decisions. It was really like become more logical in the 17th century with two mathematicians. Is that pronounced correctly?
Mathematicians?
Mathematicians. And in that days, they were mostly combined sciences with philosophy and stuff like this. I think it was Leibniz and Descartes who came up with the idea that calculus could make consensus decisions on knowledge it obtained. And the first time it was really the modern thing we call AI now was really set in place in the 1950s, early 1950s. So it's like came from like the Turing model. I mean, in England, everybody had heard of Turing, the guy who cracked the code against the Nazis. Great inventor, great guy when it comes to computing, even if computing was more like things that moved still and stuff like this that days. That's when it all started out, and there was an initial burst of energy put into it, and finance as well.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is there's always, like a hype and then a drop off.
Right.
So there was another one in the 1970s where was big development, then it dropped off. It's called, I think, the AI Winter. And there were 3 of them when nobody said, no, we don't put any more money into this. In the 80s and 90s, the Japanese put really lots into it. And I think it got really to where we are now in the late 90s when Deep Blue from IBM, that was, I'm not sure if you're old enough to remember this.
Absolutely rings a bell.
Was the first AI computer who beat a human grand chess master in chess.
Oh, wow.
With chess, it's still quite explainable because chess, you can just, train a database up to have every move in there, even if it's millions and millions of possibilities.
Of course,
got more interesting in 2015 or 16, I'm not sure now, when AI beat a Go player. Go is a Chinese board game, which is about 100,000 times more complicated than chess.
Really?
And the thing is, it started with a move that was never made before. And everybody, why does it do this? That's totally unlogical. And it won the game in the end.
The most optimal way, I imagine.
Still, people are still puzzled why it did this move, because it's totally illogical to start the game this way. But that was the first where AI has shown not only to use data it uses and just say, okay, I have this data and compare it to something else that happened before, but to make like a creative decision on the knowledge it gained before by just compiling the data.
Yeah. Interesting. So it's not
just ChatGPT, and
not just since November last year, then, no.
And ChatGPT is at the moment the hot topic.
It is, yeah.
There are other things around, by the way. It's an NLP, natural language processing thing. But there for sure everybody was talking about, this will be the big competition for Google and stuff like this. Google is working on AI forever. Okay, they're just existing 22 years, but they're always working on AI and using it even for how results are qualified and stuff like this. And they have their own NLP as well, which, I'm now not, is it Lambda or called something else? But they have their own NLP program running, and they just announced a few weeks ago, they will roll it out maybe this year within search as well as a chat. So
I've heard of that,
a conversational
AI
available via Google and stuff like this. I mean, with OpenAI and Microsoft now, what do they say? 20 billion they want to put in?
20 billion they've put in, and it's been integrated into Bing and all sorts of clever stuff. And I know some of the guys that I work with in our SEO team have been talking about AI since way before ChatGPT and all different things like that. So, no, it's all very interesting. Obviously, this particular podcast is all in the context of SEO. That's your background as well, Rudi. So, can you explain any ways in which AI is currently being used in SEO actively, in your experience or from what you know?
It is used for sometimes. So again, this is a little bit I'm guessing, but I think a lot of the big tools like SEMrush, Ahrefs or whatever, they present you with the results, and these are for sure there's a database behind it which then makes these are the important questions and stuff like this. So that's a form of AI as well, I think. But it's used currently for stuff like text generation or headline generation, comparison and stuff like this, with a lot of tools like Jasper, I think, is one of the big ones, Quiltbot. They claim they generate totally unique texts and stuff like this, which I think this has to be really taken with not the smallest pinches of salt.
Yeah.
At the moment, especially with ChatGPT, storming on the stage. There's a lot of things people try to do with it. People are doing really good with it. It's like for keyword clustering, making just logical or category clusters with keywords or with pages and stuff like this. That works really well. I actually use it to write regex.
Okay.
So regular expressions, because I'm really, really bad at coding anything.
Yeah.
And regular expressions are so helpful with Google Search Console if you want to filter something. And you just type in, write me in regex for this and this, puts it out, works. Brilliant thing. Love it.
Yeah, saving time, isn't it, as well? So, obviously, I think top of mind for certainly me and a lot of people I speak to is there's a lot of good things going for AI. There's a lot of things we could do to make SEO easier, save ourselves time from a team point of view as well. But I think there's a lot of ethical questions over that in terms of how much is too much, how much content can you generate from AI, for example, which is then unoriginal, and are you just skipping forward? Are you cheating effectively? In your view, is it ethical to use AI, or do you think it's got its place?
I think using it is ethical, but again, there are all the cowboys out there who will misuse it, and they've all been there. I mean, I was really happy when the black hat SEO scene got a little bit pushed in the background. But I think all the guys who 5 years ago were selling backlinks from link farms and still try to do this now, they will selling content in the future, because it gets so easy to just generate, sorry to say so, but any rubbish. And that then becomes, for one, not even unethical, but unuseful, because it will be just the same and same and same again. So you can use it for a lot of things, but it always needs a human review first, if it is correct, because sometimes it just generates wrong things. Because it will give you an answer. Doesn't mean the answer is right.
No, exactly.
It sometimes I'm sometimes sit there and say, "What have you smoked, ChatGPT?" But the other thing is, so even AI is training itself and training knowledge, but it has a vast amount of data, which it can draw on to come to conclusions. But the vast amount of data is from websites, from the internet. And so it's limited still. Even if it can put things creatively together, it only has the same roots. And I think one of the things people start to think about now is when it gets overused and it trains itself up again and again, and if it trains up on its own generated content, then it becomes like
it's a roundabout, isn't it?
A roundabout, and nothing new gets put in. It's just all spun around. So at the moment, it's only trained up to data up to 2021, I think, ChatGPT at least.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Funny thing is, if you look on like Twitter or LinkedIn or whatever, there's like, the 50 most important prompts, and then check my website for this and this. This is where it will give you an answer, but it won't be the right one, because if it knows the website, it will be outdated data on it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the content, certainly that I've read, that's AI generated, it lacks. For me, I like reading content that's driven by experience. So it's got that unique perspective that an individual has experienced, and it's shaped the way they want to put that story out. And I think that's what AI generated content lacks. It's great for being factual. I found it great for lists and bullet pointing key items or key facts and stuff like that. But in terms of actually putting a story together, it really lacks that. And I think it's going to become. It's already quite frustrating to justify, for me, who's sort of in a leadership position in an agency where I'm trying to justify to clients why we charge what we charge for our services. It's going to become even more difficult now. Potential customers can see that they can get this stuff done next to free of charge, but it doesn't mean it's going to generate results or yield an ROI for them. But it's going to become more and more tough, I think, as these tools get more and more used.
I don't think. I think actually it might take a little while, but the justification for your pricing might be even easier in the future, because there is more and more content generated, and I totally agree, it's brilliant to make lists. It's brilliant for ideation even,
100%, yeah.
When you have a little bit of blog, just give it
Massively.
a few prompts, and what is related to this. Give me some other ideas around this. And it does this. That's brilliant. But for writing content pieces, longer ones, it gets really boring because it just has one tone. It doesn't have any experience or personality. It repeats words quite often.
Yeah,
so the language seems to be still, even if it's called natural language processing, and it reads on short pieces quite as it could be by a human. But in longer pieces, you like, would anybody really say it and uses words that often? It doesn't use synonyms that much or whatever. And so, I mean, there's I'm not sure how many billion websites there are at the moment, but there are, I think at least 10 times more websites than humans on this planet, and 10% of them get read.
Yeah.
The most is out there, and nobody ever reads them. This all gets crawled and gets taken into consideration, and there will be far more rubbish put out over the next half year, 2 years maybe. And it will clog up the system because people, like you said, say, oh, why should I hire somebody who writes me high-value content for a reasonable pricing when I can just have AI do the job?
Yeah.
And they might think, oh yeah, this sounds good, and put it on there, but in the end, it won't have the effect they want, because it will be some of the things nobody will ever look at. Or maybe in the beginning somebody will look at it, but then people say, oh yeah, but this is hundreds of thousands of times the same output there. So
I was about to say, it's great for output. You can say I've done this many pieces of content this month, but actually in terms of what we're all here to do, that's hit an objective of some sort, or hit a revenue objective, or grow websites traffic. It's just not going to do that.
And so for like content creation other than lists, you can use it to break down content and have it write small paragraphs. But again, I would only use it for ideation, or as getting a roadmap. And it always needs a human to review it, maybe rephrase it, and for sure check it for accuracy, because
100%.
It will put some stuff in that it just presumes, and which is either not current or just plainly wrong.
Yeah, and if you're not careful,
that's
big impact.
In the end, it is a tool, and like every tool, you can use it the proper way, or you can cut yourself the foot off.
100%. How do you think it's going to shape or help shape the role of an SEO professional over the next 3, 4, 5 years potentially?
Oh, that's 4 or 5 years. It's really a long time in this fast
developing. A year is a long time in this space, isn't it?
Yeah, it's at the moment the pace is really high. I think it really will help us in a lot of ways. I know when it came out, a lot of people were worried, and it could do this and this, and do I keep my job, and will people try to do it all on their own? No, because again, it's about experience, about knowledge, what you can bring to the table, and you can use this tool to just be quicker with certain tasks which are rather boring and demanding. So if you have a big e-commerce site which has easily 1.5 million pages or whatever, and to organize the data, to organize the keywords, the pages, organize me everything that is blue, organize me everything that is a t-shirt, organize me everything that has this particular keyword in the headline, or has any links to this. These are things where a human would sit there and manually,
hours on end. Yeah.
Even if you use search and find or whatever, or Excels, you could do it one word by one word, or one prompt by one prompt, while in an AI you could give a whole list of prompts and just get the full output. So even if you use operators in your table calculation or whatever, it still takes you a lot of time, while you can really upload the data, prompt what you want as the output, and let the AI run it. And that's where it will really help. And there's a lot of tasks that can be sped up and optimized with it. Yeah. Again, they have to be checked, but
absolutely. If you were responsible for leading a team at the moment. Is that what you would be encouraging them to do?
I would for sure encourage them to use it, to play around with it, to check the boundaries and the capabilities. So where does it go wrong? Where do I have to have an eye on it in the output? And see what tasks can be optimized, because that might be different from company to company, from personality to personality. Some people just, they need their lists, and I'm not such a list guy, but I'm a guy who has like 2.5 million tabs open on his screen. So everybody has to see where can I use it in the best way for me. Is it like making topical clusters? Is it for semantics? Is it for just sieving to data? So our website, even if the company is reasonably big, but our website doesn't have millions of pages. So there's a lot of things I can do manually still. I speed them up a little bit with AI at the moment. I try to. I'm still learning on this as well.
I was going to say,
like
what are you using AI for?
But it's always the size of the pages. If you're an agency and you have multiple customers, totally different talk again, because you have different size customer websites and different problems you have to tackle.
And that's where we're at. We're exploring it. We're working out ways in which we should be using it for our customers to create time benefits, as you spoke about, and creative benefits as well. Like you said, ideation, stuff like that is something we've spoken about as well. I think one of the things we've discussed internally as well is, transparency around that as well. I think we're really keen to be transparent with our customers around the use of that. If you were a customer of ours, any advice on that in terms of transparency around the use of AI?
There's a good example. What was the name? I'm not sure if you remember. There's a banking company in America, Bank something. I can't remember the name now. That was big talk on the social media channels over the last weeks as well. They have used AI-generated content for the last 2 years.
Okay, on the radar or?
No, publicly. So there's content created by.
I've seen this in the SERPs, yeah.
And reviewed by.
I've seen this.
And edited by. So it's created by AI and reviewed by an expert and edited by an expert. And they really rocketed up with all of this. So
really?
I
Just
think,
by being transparent?
I think by prompting the AI at first to produce the right stuff, because it's all about how relevant is your content, how good is your content, no matter who writes it, and then being open about it and say this is AI written. So again, I think there was, when it comes back to the days of black hat SEO, a lot of people who try to cheat the system.
It's hiding it, isn't it?
And it might work for a while, but in the end, I mean, Google has a lot of flaws, but it has a lot of clever people working on it as well. And if they catch you out and get a penalty, that's then you're done for at least a year.
Do you think that's the way it's going to go? Do you think the use of AI generated content will be not frowned upon, but accepted if you let users know, if it says at the top of the page this has been generated by AI? Do you think Google will start rewarding that almost?
So even I'm not sure about rewarding, but the thing is, I'm not sure even if you have to mention the author, or if you have to mention it actively. But the latest statement from Google, I'm not sure if it was it John Mueller or was it Gary Illis? But there's a statement from Google which says there's nothing wrong in using AI-generated content as long as it is helpful.
Yeah, exactly.
And correct, for sure. So in the end, Google doesn't care who has written the content, as long as it is useful and gives the user the information they want.
Yeah, it's all about user intent, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Yeah, and in the end, Google doesn't care where the people go. They just want, mostly they want to stay them on the Google pages and provide the answer there. So if they can have and AI is mostly tries to be very focused in the answers. So, and then if Google can scrape this and have this in the PAA, so the people also ask, and people don't even click away from Google, then Google says happy days.
We're all going to live on Google eventually, aren't we? And get rid of our own websites.
No, I'm not so sure, because again, there's where AI comes in with Bing might get a little bit more of a drive when they integrate this. And
be interesting. Very interesting.
I think 2 weeks ago, there was an interesting job post, and Barry Schwartz, I'm not sure if you heard the name, just posted something today, I think. Yahoo Search seems to planning a comeback.
Who's that, sorry?
Yahoo.
Oh, really?
Yes, Yahoo Search, which at the moment I think they're using Bing data.
Right.
But they have reactivated their Twitter account. They are actively, there's a job post for Yahoo Search product manager out there. And they are giving some very ominous hints via various social media channels that they might surface again. A lot of people at the moment are like, oh, is it going to be an AI thing as well? Or is it be something totally different?
I think the Bing one is super interesting. I think Microsoft's doing a great job of building up hype around that, diversifying their revenue streams. But Bing is, what's the market share at the minute of that? Less than 5%, I imagine?
Yeah, I think something around the 5%.
Around the 5% mark. Even if they can get 10, 15%, that creates a huge change in our industry, the SEO industry. And I mean, I can't really claim to be clued up on Bing that much, but I don't know how. If you compare two sets of search results, Google and Bing, I don't know how much they differ at the moment. I don't know.
They differ quite a bit. So the company I worked for before was a B2B company, and in B2B more people use Bing because you're just not allowed to install anything other on your computer than the laptop you were given. So they are slightly different, but not in a really big way. So if you're on the top page in Google, you will be at least likely, maybe not in the same position, but likely on the top page in Bing as well. But that's where it gets interesting as well, because with Microsoft having this, 20 billion stake in OpenAI they're going to buy, and maybe cooperating this into Bing, and Google has announced they will release a conversational chatbot by this year, somewhere this year. Again, the search market might give some other smaller players a chance to get a little bit more of the market share. But when everybody was talking about ChatGPT being the Google killer or big competition,
I don't buy that.
I don't buy that either, and I don't think so. And Google has all the computing power and AI knowledge in the background. I think their only problem is, how do we monetize it?
Yes.
I think there's a product ready there to go straight away, but they think, but how do we make money out of it?
Yeah. I wouldn't surprise me at all. I mean, do you think it matters what search engines people are going to use? I mean, in my mind, they're all striving to do the same thing, apart from monetize themselves, is provide the best results. And if that's what we're striving to do for our own websites in terms of the content we produce and the user experience we provide, surely it's not going to make a huge impact on website owners themselves, or does your opinion differ from that?
No, I'm totally with you, and I think Google's mantra, which is one of the few things I think that's really nice about them, is think about your user and optimize your content for the user. But as an SEO, you have to say, okay, but we have to rank up as well. And so we might have to cut some things a little bit short, and more likely put a little bit more wording around things, that it just gets a little bit more volume, or we can get some neighboring what's the word, some neighboring content or categories mentioned as well, and that we can get some logical internal linking in there as well. So we might just put an extra paragraph of something that's not really on the topic, but so this all happens. It doesn't matter which search engine really, because in the end they use similar algorithms. I mean, you just mentioned in the beginning the Yandex leak where everybody is going crazy, and I
aren't they? Yeah.
I just thought, but why is everybody going crazy? But there are a few takeaways you can.
I saw that there was, don't quote me on this, but 20,000 different ways in which they rank a website.
Yeah, something like this.
20,000. That's mental, isn't it?
Then I'm sometimes surprised, whoever reads this all, if they have read really all the Google guidelines, because they keep their algorithm very close to them, but they have the guidelines out there, and I think I might have read 5% of the Google guidelines, because there are thousands of pages and guidelines, and only what interests me are like, let's look at this and what does Google say about it. Again, there might be a chance for AI to just prompt it, tell me what is said in this document.
Just summarize it.
Summarization is something it's really good at. Or if you just have very long scientific text or whatever, copy and paste it in there and give me a short summarization, or just tell me about this specific point in the whole text and summarize it up. So that's where it can be very helpful and time saving.
Yeah, for sure. So what's your technical SEO knowledge like? So do you think that AI's got a space in? There we go. Nice ringtone. Do you think AI's got a place for technical SEO at all?
Yes, sure it has. It will be, again, very helpful in filtering data. For sure you need other tools, but most people will use Screaming Frog. I always get a little bit overwhelmed when you crawl your whole page and then where do I find this now? And yes, you can filter it and stuff like this, but it would be easier and nice if you just can put it all in somewhere, prompt something and give me an output for this and this.
I'm thinking of a world where you could say, list me all the pages that have a broken link, or list me all the pages that have less than 5 internal links, stuff like that, just to give you the output.
Yeah, that's basically, I think that's even possible with Screaming Frog or with Ahrefs or SEMrush or whatever. You can find them and have them.
Yeah, you can go through them. Yeah,
but then combining the information, because again, if you have a very big page or site and over 1 million pages, and then you have, now I want everything that has a broken image and that has more traffic than 1,000 hits per month, or everything combining different data sources. Give me everything that needs high attention, like a broken link or a broken image or something like this, and has this and this traffic and has generated this and this revenue, or where revenue has dropped and where's an image. So there, again, AI can be the tool, but AI won't be the creative idea behind it to say, what do I need?
Yeah, it makes prioritization. That would make prioritization so much easier, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
For sure. And likewise, we spoke about content, we spoke about the technical side of it. In terms of things like digital PR, link building, do you think AI's got a place for that at all? Obviously, digital PR is something that we do a lot of, is creative content. So again, ideation is something we spoke about, but generating contacts for the outreach, that kind of stuff. But anything you've seen from your experience?
Ooh, that's where I'm a little bit critical, because, like you said, you do stuff like this, and how easy would it be to sniff out when you receive, if any journalist receives like 5 times a nearly same subject line in his email, because people all generated it with AI.
Same thing, yeah.
And so, but link building and outreach is something where I'm rather critical anyway. I think link building, again, there was this like link farming and stuff like this where it worked for a while. I always thought it should have never worked, because I always find it rather appalling to just, buy yourself into something.
I can imagine, yeah.
But if you have content that is really good and is linkable, people will link to it still, I think. And so it might be used, but I think it will be misused as well. The question is when will be people found out? And for outreach, write compelling headlines. I mean, again, going away from this, going to like AdWords. When you have like 30 digits limit for your headline and 90 limits character limits for your description, and that can be really helpful, to shorten something, or write me 90 characters long about this, write me a headline with 30 characters about this. And again, the question is, will you take it, or will you use it just as an ideation and give it a little bit your personal touch as well? So that's, I think, up to the user, and then maybe some A/B testing to see what works better.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you managed to play with some of the Google Sheets integrations with ChatGPT? Yeah. I had a quick play the other day.
I really thought about it, but I didn't have the time. So no, not up to now, but there are some interesting ideas out there. But then again, at the moment, at least, I say people are publishing like, oh, this is the ultimate Google Sheet, and
you
this
just can't go on Twitter or LinkedIn without it anymore, can you?
Yeah, and it's everybody has the major idea, and it's the same with all these are the 50 most important prompts, and then it's like, oh yeah, put your URL in here. No, it doesn't crawl. And so there's a lot of useful stuff being generated at the moment by humans, not by the AI. Maybe by the AI as well, we don't know. But there's a lot of rubbish as well at the moment being just put out, and a lot of people are just, this is good clickbait, so I just write the 50 best.
You can't go online anymore without seeing it. Well, look, obviously, the conversations I've had with some of the team here as well, that they're saying similar things to what you're saying. AI it's a tool. It is a tool you can use to, support what you're doing, but nothing yet. Maybe in the future, who knows? But nothing is going to replace that human interception of that creative output as well. So, is that your summary of things in terms of AI? Use it as a tool. Use it to speed things up. Use it to do some of the more boring sort of administrative tasks, which can come with SEO, but creative output is not going to replace that anytime soon.
Yeah, I think that sums it up pretty well. And there are things, like as an SEO, like said in the beginning, I can write a little bit of HTML. I'm really rubbish at everything else in coding, other than a little bit JSON for schema or whatever. But if it comes to anything, I'm like, ask the dev team. Yeah. But there are things where AI can be really, really helpful as well. And I think even more for developer teams and stuff like this, it will be a major tool to speed things up, because everything that's just, write me something,
Yeah, to be fair, a big part of our business is development, and again, we're investigating how we can use it to impact that as well. So there's lots of stuff. I don't think we're not close to pulling the trigger on anything really. If truth be told,
but it's an interesting thing to play with. We had it writing a WordPress plugin.
Yeah.
And it writes a WordPress plugin. It does, so and that's just something I would never be able to do. But
no.
I haven't tested it up to now, so I'm not sure if it really works or if it will break the internet.
Go on, waiting for it.
But yeah, it's for stuff like this, and I think it might help even the internal communication to be easier, because at least that's me, and I think a lot of people who work in our industry, they are quite curious people. Even if they are specialized, they take in a lot of information, they try to grab every information.
Yeah.
And while talking to the AI, because it's conversational, it's a chat GPT called, it can explain things to you, and it explains things pretty good when it comes to technical things. So
it does, yeah.
How does something like a plugin work? How does an API work? How can I connect this to this? How does, I don't know, SSH work or whatever? And it explains it to you, and you can just ask it again. Sorry, I didn't understand. Can you just elaborate on the point above? Because it keeps the history. You can prompt it back.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree
can
more.
refine things, and that's I think where it will be helpful. But yeah, it will be a tool, a very powerful tool. It will get better and better. I think at the moment, ChatGPT is based on GPT 3.5, I think, which has I don't know how many billion data points.
4.0's got something like 10 times more.
But everybody is waiting for GPT-4 at the moment, which will
blow it out the water, effectively.
Blow GPT-3 out of the water. But in the end, I think it's someone, I'm not sure who it was, but I found it quite interesting, the comparison. It's so AI is like a 5-year-old with a vast amount of knowledge. But you really have to tell it what to do with this knowledge. If nobody tells to do it with the knowledge, it just does whatever.
You have to be very. If you are specific with it, you get some really good outputs. But if you're not specific with it, you get
can be very random at times as well.
Really poor outputs. Yeah. Well, on that note, any final words on AI and your experience with that?
Don't be afraid of it. Use it. Try to find the boundaries of where it is useful for you. Get your head around it, because it's here to stay.
Absolutely, yeah.
And like most things, if you don't use it, you are either in a very, very niche, or you will be a little bit behind the scene in a while.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Well, look, really appreciate your time, Rudi. Great chat, and yeah, I'm sure I'll see you again soon. We'll continue the conversation, maybe for a part 2.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No problem at all. Lovely. Thank you all for listening, and we will see you again soon.